And I'm live. That is cool. And today is 11th of August 2025, Monday. And yesterday was a Code Forces contest number 1042, in which I participated and I was able to do 5 questions. And I would like to analyze those 5 questions, what I did, and what the editorial says about them, and also see submissions by some of the best players, people who got better rank than me. And also there was the sixth question which I was trying to do but was unable to do. It uses dynamic programming, and today I will solve it and see if I can. I think I can. So let's just begin. And yo. So in this contest, there was a hacking period for 12 hours, which has ended. And right now it seems like system analysis is going on. Nope, it hasn't even started. So that's cool. I was able to do these 5 questions, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I was trying to do this one. This one uses dynamic programming that I was able to figure out, but I will, and I even had the idea, kind of the idea, like partial idea of about the theory that I would like to apply in this. And today I will implement and refine my theory. Lever, lever. And Tmux is running. That is cool. Go to. There are always updates in Vim. There must be some, not in Vim, but in plugins, one of the plugins. And yep, these are the questions, 5 questions. And first one is here. So in this question, what is it? Yep. In this question, I have been given an array A and an array B, and I am doing some operations. And in one operation, I choose one index, one element, one index I, and for that index in A and B, I see the element in, like, if my index is A, if my index is I see the AI element, and if my index is B, I see the BI element. And if the AI element is bigger than the BI element, then I reduce one from the AI element. And in the same operation, I choose another index I, right? Choose a random index I, another one, in which if the AI value is lower, then I increase that AI value. And what I have to tell is how many operations will I do if I do these optimally. Because when I try to do the first operation in which the AI value is greater, if I find no such thing in which the AI value is greater, then I will stop iterating, and that operation in which I found that there is no AI greater than BI, then I will, that operation will also be counted. So in this, I will do my first operation on this, and this 7 would become 6. That is my first operation. Then I will again do my second operation on this one, and this would make this 6 into 5, and then I would do it again, and I would see that there is no A that is greater than B. So answer would be 3, and same goes for everything else. Here I would have to do operation at least once to see that there is no AI which is greater than BI, and so that is what I have implemented. I take in the array A, then I take in the array B, and my sum is equal to 0. And I see if AI is greater than BI, then I add it to my sum, and at the end I output sum plus 1, which is the correct answer. And I was able to do it, I guess, in 5 minutes. Let me see. 5 minutes would be cool. Yep, 5 minutes. And standings, friend standings, that is me. Yep, 5 minutes. But then I submitted 2 wrong answers for the B1, which gave me a penalty of 20 minutes in total. 10 minutes for each wrong submission, and which is very bad, So, and this one also took me 14 minutes to implement after this one. So that was very bad. And I did 1 wrong submission on C and 1 on E, and in total that gave me a penalty of 40 minutes. 40 minutes is a very long time. So I have realized from that fact that it is good to take at least 5 minutes, or like it is not bad to take 5 minutes and then debug my solution and actually check is my logic and implementation everything correct. So moving on to question number next, it's B. Question B, alternating series, and in this I will be given an n and I have to return a series, an array of size n, and that array has to be good. And what is a good array? A good array is such an array in which whenever you multiply any two consecutive elements, their product is negative. Like here, if I multiply -1 with 3, it is -3, which is negative. If I multiply 3 with -1, it is also negative. That is one property that a good array has to have. And second is that for any subarray of length 2, if I sum all of those elements, then the sum has to be greater than 0, positive. The sum has to be positive. If I add these two elements, I will get +1, which is positive, greater than 0. If I add these three elements, I will get +1, which is greater than 0. And the person who designed this question was very intentionally sneaky, because these examples mislead you. They are correct, but they mislead you. If there were like for n5, if they had given the output for n5, I would have gotten this correct in, I guess, the first try, but I didn't. It took me 2 wrong answers, and shit, it was very horrible. And in this, what I'm doing is, and also, so that was the definition of a good array. And a better array is one which is lexicographically smaller than any other array. A better array is one that is lex a better array. An array A is better than a good array B if it is lexicographically smaller than array B, which means, and we are not taking negative signs, we are just taking absolute values of the elements in A and B, and it has to be lexicographically smaller than the array B. And what we have to return for an integer, a good array, which is better than any other array. So we want every two elements to have their when you multiply them, to have their product negative, their sum positive, and they have to be lexicographically smaller than any other array. And in this, so since I want the sum to be positive and every consecutive element to have a negative product, I would have to have -1 plus minus plus minus plus. And since I want this to be as small as possible, I would like to use smaller numbers, and I cannot use just 0 0 because I want the product to be negative, and I cannot use like 1 here because the sum has to be positive. So that's what I'm doing in this one. In B, I first take an n, then I create a array answer, which I don't even have. Yep, I don't have to create that. And then I put negative equal to true, which means the first number that I'm going to put is going to be negative. And then I start my array from the start till n minus 1. And if current number is negative, then put -1. And if the current number is positive, then put +3. And after every iteration, put negative equal to not negative. So I will be iterating between -3 and between -1 and 3, and at the end, when I get out, if the number that I have, remaining number, which is because I went till n-1, so one number is remaining, and if that number is negative, then I will put -1, and if it is positive, then I will put 2. And what is the need for this, you might ask? Uh, are you studying from distance learning? What is distance learning? Oh, like I do not have classes of my college. Yeah, I just don't go there. I just don't go to college. So in this, -1, 3, -1, and let's say 3, and then -1, and then 2. This would be a valid sequence because I want every two consecutive elements to have a product, to have a negative product, which is true for every sequence in here. And I also want the sum of every subsequence of every subarray with at least two elements to be equal, to be positive. And in this, since the smallest subarray I can take is of two numbers, and one has to be negative and one has to be positive, so I want this number to be at least equal to 2. But I could also choose this as my subarray, in which I would have -2, and to make it positive I need +3. That is why I'm using +3 here. And when I increase my subarray to include some more numbers, then I would have +3 again, so I do not have to make this 3 any bigger. And at the end, since this positive number is only going to be paired with one negative number, I can make this 2. I do not have to make this equal to 3, so that is also cool. And I got that right, but it like took two wrong answers, which is bad. Uh, Submitting two wrong answers increased my penalty by 20 minutes, which is very bad. And I will also like to read the editorial in a minute. And okay, system testing is going on. That is cool. Why does it say, why is it red? It is red only for the ones that I submitted wrong for the first time. Makes sense. Make it equal. That is the next one. And in this, given two multisets, yep, I have been given two multisets S and T. Their size is N, and I have been given an integer K. So I have four things. I have a set S, I have a set T. Shit, that actually makes sense. S means source and T means target. I need I need to say I need to answer yes or no if the source could be converted into a target, into the target. And the operation that I can do on set S is choose any element in S and replace it with either x plus k or x minus k mod. X minus k, absolute value of x minus k. And I need to tell if I can ever convert S into T. And in this, I guess I think I did this one in first try. No, I did submit something wrong for this. So in this, let's say I have taken an element x and I have another number k, and what I can do is the only conversions that I can perform on this number is I can replace this x with x plus k. That is one thing I can do, and I can do x minus k absolute value. And you can see what this thing does is if I have an x, I can convert it into x plus nk. And what this does is what thing remains same after this operation is the modulus of x with k. So I can have x plus nk, and if I take mod of this with k, I will get, since mod can be separated over a plus sign, so mod of x with k and plus nk mod with k, and then whole mod with k, because since I'm doing plus here, this could increase, this could like exceed k, so I have to take mod with k after that. And this thing is just mod of x with k, and then I add to it this thing, and since this thing is a multiple of k, since n is an integer, I will have 0, and taking mod of that thing with k simply will give me x mod k. So after doing this operation, the remainder will remain same. And this operation, what does this thing do? Let's say I have a k. I could have only two possible things. Either my k is bigger than the x that I have chosen. This is x, this is k. Either k is bigger, then the thing that I will get after performing this operation once would be this thing. Let's call it x bar. And when I perform this operation again, what I will get is, that is, now I have my k and I have x bar, and when I subtract from k x bar, I will get this value, which is equal to the original k. So, and therefore I can convert this x into x dash, and thus that gives me x and x dash, and their modulus with k would be reserved. So that is what I have to do. And then when, so those are the numbers that I can make. So when I am taking in s, what I will do is I can create a multiset of p and add the modulus of every, when I'm taking the input, take modulus of every element with k and put that into p, and then I will iterate through the set s and see if modulus of the current element that I am at in s, if that exists in p, if that number exists in p, and if it does, then I am going to erase that number from p, and if it does not, then I can convert this x into x dash, which would be the difference in x and x dash, difference between k and x, and then see is the modulus of x dash in p, and if it does, then erase that. And after I have gone through all the elements through s, I will see p's length, and if p is empty, that means I was able to convert all the elements in s into p. And if p is not empty, then I was unable to do that. And system testing is going very fast, it seems, which means that I was unable to do that, and so the answer would be no. So in this, yep, I have the array s and a multiset p of integers, and then I take in s, and inside s I am putting modulus of every element with k, and inside p I'm inserting the same thing, modulus of every element with k, and then I am iterating through the set S, and I am seeing is Si, that is the modulus of this current element in S, is it in P? And if it is in P, then erase that number, And if not, then take its difference with k, take its modulus with k, and see if that exists in P. And if it does, then erase it. And then at the end, if P is empty, then output yes, and if it is not empty, then output no. So that is cool. And one more thing that I would like to see is, if I do not find the element and I see that P it equals end, and if I still do P dot erase, what will I get? Erasing multiset dot end C++. Previous end, if it is not empty, then do erase the end. No, no, no. I can do chat GPT. And in this, when I look for an iterator in a set in C++, and that what what will happen when I do ms dot erase ms dot end in C++, where ms is a set. If you do this, you are invoking undefined behavior. That makes sense. C++ set end returns a iterator pointing to the last element of the last element of this set, and called past the end iterator. Okay, it is called past the end iterator. This iterator does not refer to a valid element. It is a sentinel meant only to signal end of a container, and erase requires an iterator that points to a valid element within that container. Passing end breaks this contract. According to the standard, if the iterator passed to erase is not dereferenceable like end, the behavior is undefined. So I guess it is implementation defined, because it is not part of the language definition. In practice, what might happen depends on your compiler and runtime. Makes sense. Compiler defined. Debug builds may silently crash. Okay, so that means I have to check for this if it is not equal to end, and only then erase it. Makes sense. And then moving on to question number D. Hello, Aditya Chandra. And question number D. And system testing is going on, which is cool. 55% done. And now question number D. I got this right in one try, which was cool, And Kagari is preparing to achieve it. Yes. So this one was cool. This one was about graphs in a sense. So in every test case, I have been given n, which is the number of nodes that I have in a tree. And what defines a tree is that if you have n nodes, then you are going to have n minus 1 edges in your tree. And no to it, and every node is reachable from every other node either directly or indirectly. So what that means is that if I have 4 or 5 nodes in my tree, then I'm going to have 5 minus 1, that is 4 nodes. And those nodes could be like this, like this. So here every single node is connected to every single node either directly or indirectly. So I can go from this to this through by going to this node first and then going to this node. So that is cool. And this is a tree. And what I can do in one operation is this. Given a tree, let's make one of the trees. Let's make this one. Shit, it has 11 nodes. This is going to be cool. Okay. let's make this tree. It has 11 nodes. Due to some reason, it has 11 nodes. Just happen to have 11 nodes. Okay, I have 11 nodes in this one, which is like shit. That is crazy. I have 11 nodes here. Let's say I have node number 1 here and node number 2 here. They are connected like this. Then node number 1 is connected to node number 3 also directly. Then node number 2 is connected to 4. Okay, so we have 1 connected to 3, 2 connected to 4, and let me also number them 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I have 3 and 5. This is 3, and I have node number 5 here, let's say. Then I have node number 8, which is also going to be connected to 3. I have 8 here. Then I have 5 and 6, node number 6 here, and then 5 and 7. Let's say 7 is here, and then 7 and 9. Let's say 9 is here. Then I have 10, 7 and 10. Let's say 10 is here. Then I have 11, which is connected to 5. So now the connections are 3 and 5, 3 and 8, 3, 5, 3, 8, 5, 6, which is this, then 5, 7, then 7, 9, and then 7, 10, and 5, 11. This is how the whole tree is connected. And what I can do in one operation, is choose two nodes. Let's say I choose 5 and I choose 4. Then the path between 5 and 4, which is in this case this, then this, then this, then this, and every path between every two nodes is unique if you are not repeating nodes. So in a tree, that is. And so if I choose two nodes like 4 and 5, what I can do in one operation is every single node in this sequence is going to be connected to 5 directly. So I'll be using this color to represent the new nodes. New nodes would be like this is connected to this, and 5 is connected to 1 also directly, also to 2, and also to 5. And what this essentially does is this side is going to remain same, and okay, I will make it 10, 7, 11, 5, 9, and 8, 6, 3, 1, 2, 4, 1, 2, 4. So what now the new connections will look like this. These will be connected this side is as it originally was, but here I have this. So this thing 5 is connected now to all of these nodes directly, which is just crazy. And this is what I can do in one operation. And at the end, I have to reduce the width of this tree as much as I can. And how is the width of a tree defined? Like in terms of node, it was, I didn't know it at the time. It is written right here on what is the simple path and the diameter. Yeah, diameter, not the width. It is called diameter. The diameter of a tree is the longest path between any two given nodes, which in this case would be from 10 to 7 to 5 to 3 to 8. And that is 1, 2, 3, 4. 4. And what is the minimum value that I can get? The minimum value, the minimum distance between any two nodes that I can get is if I connect every other node to a single node. That would be crazy. Like I have a single node and every other node is connected to that node. Therefore, the maximum path between any two nodes is 2. Let's say I choose this, then I can go from this node to this common node and from here to any other node. So this would be the minimum diameter that I can achieve. And therefore, I want to join every other node to a single node. And what this requires is I need to first identify the edges, and not the edges, the leaves of this tree. Like this one is a leaf, this because this is connected to only one node. This one is a leaf, 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 and this one is a leaf. And after identifying all the leaves, I have to see which node are they connected to the most. And in this, I see that this is connected to 7. This is connected to 7. So 7 is connected to 2 leaves, and 5 is connected to 2 leaves, and 3 is connected to 1 leaf, and 2 is connected to 1 leaf. 3 is connected to 1 leaf, and 2 is connected to 1 leaf. And among these, since these two are already connected to the maximum amount of leaves, therefore, I do not have to choose these two leaves which are already connected to this one. I only have to choose the remaining number of leaves, and that is what I'm doing in my solution. So in my solution, yes, and the procedure that I have chosen is kind of like this: a matrix, a vector of integers. And what I'm doing is I take the left and right nodes, the edges, and then I read -1 from both because I want to make them 0 index. And I go to L, that is L contains the list of nodes that L is connected to. And since I have seen that L and R are connected to each other, so I do L pushback R. I am adding R to the list of nodes which are connected to L. And I am doing the same thing to R. R pushback L. And if the number of nodes is 2, that is, therefore they will be directly connected. I do not have to do anything else. If they are not 2, if there are more than 2 nodes, then CNTN. What is CNTN? I forgot. I'm counting something. I am counting the number of edges, and I am counting maximum. Okay, and I am iterating through the links through every node, and I'm seeing if this is one of the edges. If this current links I is one of the edges, then the number of nodes that this link is connected to is going to be 1. And that is what I'm checking. If it is 1, then count. Shit, yes. Yes. This makes sense. CNT represents the number of edges that a given node is connected to. That a given the number of edges the number of leaves a given node is connected to. That is, in this case, this thing. So 2 is connected to one edge, one leaf, and 3, the node number 3 is connected to one leaf. Node number 5 is connected to 2 leaves, and node number 7 is connected to 7 leaves. So whenever I see an edge that is linked I dot size equals to 1, then I go to that node which this leaf is connected to and increment its leaf count by 1. And then I see the maximum. Is this the current max? Is this the maximum that I have? The number of edges that this, the number of leaves, shit, I'm like miscalling leaves and edges, is the number of leaves that this node is connected to, is it greater than the maximum that I have seen till now? And if it is, then update max, and number of edges, increase the number of edges, and number of edges mean the number of leaves. So I should call this leaves instead of edges. Leaves and at the end I output leaves minus the maximum amount of leaves that a given node is connected to, and that makes sense. I got that much right. It's also cool. And now E is the last one that I was able to do. 58% system testing. That is cool. Yes. So in this question, I have been given two arrays, A and array B, and what I can do for every number in this A array that is at one place, which has some number to its right, which would be all of these four numbers except this, because this number has no number to its right. I can choose any of these in any order and then replace this number by its XOR with the number to its right, which means, and I can, on one number, I can do this operation at most one time. So either I keep this 4 equal to as it is 4, or I take this 4's XOR with the number to its right, 5. And since I cannot change the last number, I will have to check if the last numbers are same. If they are not, then answer does not exist. So in this case, answer does not exist even though every other number is same. Answer, this array cannot be converted into this, which is true, no. And so here, if I take XOR of 4 with 5, I will get a 1. That is cool. And here, if I take XOR of 3 with 4, I will get a 7, because 3 is 1 1 and 4 is 1 0 0. And if I take their XOR, I will get 1 1 1, which is 7. And here I do not have to change anything. I can just keep 2 as it is. And here I want to change this one into a 3, which I can by taking XOR of 1 with 2. That would, and 1 is simply 1 in binary, and 2 is 1 0, and XOR of 1 and 1 0 is 1 1, which is 3. And here I do not have to change these. That is cool. And when I take XOR of 0 with 0, I should get a 0. So this should be no, which it is. Which it is, and that is what I'm checking. And since I can do this operation at most once for any element, and also I can do this in any order, which means I can take XOR of any given number with whatever number is to the right of it, or I can take its XOR with the number that it is going to become. That is, I can take this number's XOR with this number right now, or after this number's conversion into this number. And if this number, if so I can convert this number into two different numbers by taking XOR with this or by taking XOR with this. And if any of them is equal to 7, then we are cool and we can move left or right. It depends on however we are iterating. And yeah, at this XOR. So in this, I take in n, then I take in both the arrays A and B, and then I put possible equal to true, and then I check are the last numbers equal, and if they are not, then p equals false, and I check here p. If p true, then yes, and if p false, then no, and else if the last two numbers are same, then I go in here and I start iterating from the second last number till the first number, and what I'm checking is either the current value of A and B are equal. If they are not equal and BI, the value that I want to make, is not equal to the value, the XOR of current number in I or the next number in BI, and it is not equal, and also BI, the number that I want, is also not equal to the current value in AI and the next value in AI, then P is false, since I cannot convert this AI into BI no matter what. Then P false and break, and I will output yes or no depending on that. And that would be, I guess, the last question that I was able to do, which is uncool. What's your rating right now? It is 1300. Terra. Hello. And this one. Shit, I was unable to do this one. I do have a idea about how I can solve this one, which involves dynamic programming, and I want to explain it. And shit, that is cool. I want to explain it because if I cannot explain it, that means I do not understand it. 1100. So in this question, first the premise for this question. In this question, I have been given two strings of zeros and ones. I have been given two strings of zeros and ones, and this will create a grid like this: 1 0 1 0, and here the second number goes vertically: 1 1 0 1, and at each matrix column I, yes, this is I, this is not J, IJ, I will take XOR of I and J, and here the XOR is 0, here the XOR is 1, here the XOR is, I should use another color and create some margins, stuff like that, make it beautiful. Should it actually looks like a grid now. Okay, and yep, blue, green. XOR of these two is 0, XOR of these is 1. Here we have 0, here we have 1. Here we have 0, here we have 1, here we have 0. Here is 1, here is 1, 0, 1, 0, and 0, 1, 0, 1. And we have a person, I guess Alice. Who do we have? We have Yuri. Yuri is somewhere here, and Yuri wants to go to this block, and starting from here she wants to get to this place, and the thing is that she can only go to go right or down, and the block that she goes to has to have a 0 in it. So given this position, if she is start at the start here, she can only go here, and from here she cannot go here because there is one here and there is one here. But there is one thing that she can do before starting. She can, before starting, she can choose any index out of this any number in A, in this string A, or in this string B. She can choose any number and flip it to either 0, or if it is 0 it will become 1, and if it is 1 then it will become 0. So let's say in this, when she wants to get here, she can go to this block, then she can go to this, but now she cannot move any further, so she would like to change this into a 0. Only then she can go here. But if she were to choose this thing, then that would make this a 1, this a 1, this would become a 0, and also this a 1. And if these are 1, then she won't be able to get to this block in the first place. Therefore, she would like to choose this one and convert this into a 1. That would change this into a 0. So she can, I did one operation on this one. So operation 1, and from there she can go here, and since this is 0, she can go here, and now she wants to go here. And to do that, she would have to choose this and convert this into a 1 to flip this bit. And so now I have done two operations, one on this one on this one, and from this I can go to here, and this one is 0, I can go there, and now I want to get there, but this is a 1, so I would have to choose this to flip this, and this would become a 1, this would become a 0, I can go here, and now I'm at the end, and I did one more operation here. So in total I had to do 3 operations to get here, and that is cool. And what I have to answer is, if she wants to go from this starting block, to any of these blocks, if the function f I j represents the minimum number of operations that she would have to do to get to the block I j, I have to sum Fij for every single block. That is, I have to find out what is the minimum number of operations I need to do to get to this block, add that to my sum, and what would be the minimum number of operations to get to this block, add that to my sum, what would be the number of operations to get to this block, add that to my sum, and keep doing that for this whole grid. And that seems like, that smells like dynamic programming. And I wasn't able to implement this, but today I will. Watch this reminded me of my college days. I used to stream DSA every day until I got a job. Lol. Best of luck. Sub will hang around some other time. Yeah, thank you. And you are doing a job now. That is cool. I will also get a job one day. And so when I'm at any given block, there are only two moves I can do. Either come from the top or go from the left. And I will have to see, does coming from the top takes less operations, or going from the left takes less operations, and whichever takes less operations, I can go there. And at a given block, I will have to see, have the bit in this one flipped, because maybe I did some operation here, and has a bit in this one flipped because I did some operation here. And this is more complicated than I thought. And yes, I was trying to implement this. And this is what I was doing. Like, this is a lot of code. And this part was wrong. Why was this wrong? It's because I changed. So the data structure that I'm using in this is this, a vector. I'm using a vector of vector, a vector of vector, and that inner vector stores a pair, and that pair stores an integer and a char. And this integer represents for every grid, the for every grid block, the minimum number of operations needed to get to that point. And this char represents something. This represents that if this char can have three values, -1, 0, and 1, and if it is -1, that would mean that the row that this grid is at, its bits were flipped. And if it is 0, then it is ambiguous. I have the freedom to choose in which direction the bits were flipped. And if it is 1, then the bits were flipped like this, horizontally, vertically. And yeah, I was unable to implement this. And this is quite a bit of code to do a simple thing. Yeah, that was all I did yesterday. in yesterday's contest. And now I would be doing CP31 sheet, which is cool. Type to CD, it says. Make it wait, make it alternating. Isn't that one of the questions in yesterday's contest? Alternating series are a bit different. Okay, now I will be doing CP31, which is cool, and okay, 1300 level. And I will start the stopwatch and yeah, simply do stuff. It's been 50 minutes and I can put this up. Problem solving mode and stopwatch. And I will set my tmux. Attached to PCP. And why am I in new Vim plugins? That is bad. Is server tmux set script and attached to PCP. And why am I in plugins? Shit, did I change the script somehow? Dot tmux slash tmux dot sh and no, I did not. I should have been in programming. Tmux kill server and tmux set tmux attach target is cp and I'm in the root. I'm in my home directory due to some reason. Okay, I will debug that later. Now 1300 level questions and there we go. Update everything and yep, this one is fine. I will be doing questions now. First, I'll drink some water. Stop, watch, start. You are given a binary string as Okay, the number of operations I have to remove just this. Okay. Makes sense. That cool. Let's see. Segmentation fault makes sense. Still because of this, because of this. Um, cons. Let's count very big. Yeah. Okay, I am not in focus mode. Yeah, down. Yes, makes sense. Sure. So look, and is this going to work? I can spend 2 to 3 minutes just looking at the code, and it is good to make sure that this will work before submitting, before the pen, because the penalty is of 10 minutes, which is horrible. I take in the input, last character equals to the first character, count initially 0, short test sequence is always equal to 1, at least 1, and minimum equals 0, and then I'm iterating, and if equal to the last one, then count plus 1. If different, then increase mn and increase short to be factorial, because that is the number of possibilities I could have. Initial value of short multiplied by the factorial of count, which I've already taken in a different list. And count equals 1 for this new number that I have seen, and do this thing at the same, and makes sense. Let's see, this should work. 23 minutes is a very long time for this question of the simplicity. I absolutely don't know what you're doing, even though I have recently started coding, but you are doing it great. Keep it up. Thank you, worldly overseas. Okay, I will not look at the test case, and I can remove this thing. I will not look at the test case and try to figure out what went wrong just by looking at the code. So I start iterating from the start, and I would have to remove, yes, greedy is the algorithm that I am using, and okay, minimum is cool count -1. That is cool for minimum, and for shortest count. If I have 3 choices, I would have to remove 2. Yep, makes sense. I would have to remove 2, and 2 would be 3 possibilities first, and then 2 possibilities. So 3 into 2, 6 is cool, and multiplied by already short value that I have till now, and take its remainder with this, and is fact C and T correct. Fact I has the factorial of I, which is cool because fact 0 is 1, which we have just taken as 1, and factorial of 1 is equal to 1 multiplied by factorial of 1 minus 1, which is 0. Factorial of 0 is 1, which we just initialized there. So 1 into 1 is 1. 1 remainder with this big number is still 1. And when I equals 2, we would have 2 multiplied by 1, that is 2. And then for fact 3, we would have 3 into factorial of 2, which is 2, 6. So this will work. And then 6 into 4, 24, then into 5, 120, then into 6, 720, then into 7. Shit, 7 would be 4, 5040. Factorial of 7 is 5040, right? Factorial 7 is 5040. Yes, that is 5040. Cool. And yes, so things seem correct. Is there like the implementation is correct? Is there anything wrong with my logic itself? No, logic seems right. This one is 1300 level. I should be able to do this. Logic is right. Right. And do I understand the problem correctly? I can choose an integer I and erase that. So when given a series like this, to make it alternating here, I do not have to remove this one. It is fine because I would, and here there are two zeros, so I have to remove at least one of them. So one operation for that, and for any causally, for any series in which, for any substring in which all the characters are same, either like everything is 1 or everything is 0, I have to remove all of them except 1. Therefore, I am doing minimum plus count minus 1. So that minimum seems like correct. So minimum should work as it is working. And the logic for short is that since in this I have to remove two numbers, and what is the choice of numbers that I could have? Since I have to remove two numbers, for the first number, I have three choices, three. And for the second removal of the number, since I have removed like one number and I am left with two other numbers, so the choice for the second number would be 2. I could choose two different numbers, and in total, this pattern could take 6 possible states. So for this, it is 6, and in here it is 1 because there is only one possibility in which I'm not choosing anything. And in this, the answer is 2 because I could either choose this 0 or this 0. And it seems like this test case has been intentionally set up to mislead in some way, because I'm doing the right thing with shortest, multiply the current value of short with the factorial of the count, because in here the factorial of 3 is 6, which is correct, and which is correct, which is correct. So 4 into 3 into 2. Shit. I would like to look at the test case, I guess, because I have already spent 30 minutes and this was a simple question. I cannot see what I am missing in this. I'm counting I'm calculating the value of minimum correctly, and also for short. What could I be missing? Let's see. I gave the wrong answer on the 38th, expected 8, found 4. And what would the 38th string be? Or we start at 1, then we get 0, then this. Shit, this is the 7th string, hopefully. This is the 8th string. No, I would have to output the 38th string. On which I can do tt entity equals tt, and if test number of test cases is 10,000. Yep, when number of cases n is 10,000, do not do any of this. Be yo, and in here, if t minus tt equals 38, then I would like to see what s is. Copy this whole thing and submit so that I can see the test case in which I am getting a wrong answer. Submit. Harbor space it says, and let's see. Okay, wrong answer on 2, of course. Makes sense. But what was the string? String was this, and I outputted 8, and instead the answer should have been 4. Here I have to remove 2 of these. Okay, I have to remove 2 of these, and therefore minimum should be 2, and I could choose this and this, then I could choose this and this, and then I could choose this and this. So answer for that thing should be okay. 1 2 is different from 2 1, which is absolutely crazy. But why would I output a wrong answer for this string? Expected 8, found 4 in 38. And was, let's see, not much out. I have just one test case where the string is 1 0 1 1 1, right? 2 and 6 1 0 1 1 1. That was the string 1 0 1 1 1 1. Should this, I'm not outputting 4 here, so there is some problem with the way that I'm getting this thing. T minus tt equals 38, then do this. Why is it wrong? Why am I not even getting the correct string? Okay, I'm getting 4, but I'm not getting 4. I'm getting 2 and 6. Wow. Am I outputting the correct string for test case number 1? T minus tt would be 1. Yes, it would be 1. And yes, it would be 1. And for test case number 32, 38, T minus tt would be 38. Expected 8, found 4. Why would you do that? That does not make sense. What I am returning here is 2, 6. Not this one. Probably someplace else. Is this the one? Shit, I cannot even see the test case for which I'm getting the wrong answer. Expected 8 and found 4, but I'm not returning 4 on test number 38. I'm returning 2 and 6. Let's test out. I have just one test case in which I have 1, 0, 1, 1, 1. And if I add one more one, then I should get 3 and 3 and 24. 3 and 24. And if I add one more one, I should get 4 and 120. Okay, I did not add one more one. My bad. 1, 0, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. Now I should get 4 and 120, which I do get. And if I do 1, 1, 1, 0, 1, 1, 1, I should get, no, shit, first I have to enter the number of test cases, which is 1. And now 1, 1, 1, 1, let's go. And 1, 1, 1, 1. I should get 6 space 36 or 576. Why would I get 576? 576 does not make sense. Makes sense. I am getting 24 into 24, which is 576. Supposedly, is it 576? 24 into 24, 576. So yeah, that's cool. Let's submit it again, the same code, and see if it works. Am I returning the wrong remainder with the wrong thing? Count plus 1. Count would never be equal to 0. Yes, count would, because I'm here doing count equal to 1, and yes, and yes, and I'm initializing with the first element. Yes, that should work. Just the fact that, let's do, what is the mod with? Yo, hi. Technifier with Mohammed Zeshan, if that is the correct pronunciation. Keep it up. Okay, thank you. I will keep it up. This number, I have to take mod with this number. So I can do const mod equal mod, not movie, and int. And instead of writing this number every time, I can do mod in here, and I can do the same thing here. D T capital M, yeah. And yeah, This should have worked, but it does not work due to some reason. It has been 40 minutes on a single question, which is not even that hard, not that difficult. And if it does not work this time, I will look at the editorial because, yeah, I will have to now look at the editorial because I think I'm doing the right thing. And yeah, it does not make sense why it would not work. Okay, it is working. Yeah, editorial. And also how much is the system testing completed? Okay, 68%. Okay, cool. And it has been 40 minutes. D, this one was okay. Shit, this is not editor. Blood test has been here for a long time, it seems. This was an educational round. Okay, educational rounds are cool because we get quite fun problems in educational rounds. Okay, Rome's wrote this thing. Firstly, let's divide the string s into blocks of equal characters. That is, for this we can divide this into this makes sense. And let's denote the length of ith block as len I and the number of blocks as number of blocks as k. Shit. Okay. Number of blocks. No. No. Yeah. I have already taken care of that because I'm doing here this thing, multiplying the earlier value of sort with the current factorial. Yep. This should work. No. Shit. 1, 2 is different from 2, 1, right? In the question, it said that here 1, 2 and 2, 1 are listed as different things, and I am counting them as different. Yes, I am counting the number of permutations and shit. Okay, that makes so much sense. Makes so much sense. So shit, this actually makes so much sense. I have to take factorial of mm, makes sense, makes sense, makes sense. Equal to 0, equal to 0, and short equals plus equals CNT, and here the same thing, short plus equals CNT, and at the end short equals factorial of short. No. If it is 2, then I need to have, I could choose, I have two possibilities. Okay, if count is, if count is greater than 1, then add that to short. Only if it is greater than 1. Count greater than 1, question mark. If it is, then count, otherwise 0. And do the same thing here. And find factorial of short with this number, and it should give the right answer. At least it works here in theory. And will it work there? think it should. Or maybe it won't. Shit. Okay. K is the number of blocks and len I is the length of sequence at index I. Okay, to obtain the longest alternative string, we should choose exactly one character from each block and delete all the other characters. We cannot leave two or more characters from the same block. Yes. Yes, just leave one. Makes sense. Yep. Makes sense. And okay, this much makes sense. And then now let's calculate the number of ways to choose characters that stay after a string S has become alternating. That also makes sense. In the first block of length L1, there are L1 ways to choose that element. In the second block, there are L2 ways and so on. So the final number of ways is equal to multiplication. This is the multiplication sign. Number of ways is this. For example, if given something like this, okay, what do I exactly have to return? The minimum number of shortest operations that sequence of operations. I mean, isn't then sequence of operations. They are two sequence of operations are different if in at least one operation which is an integer I is different in these two sequences. Makes sense. Shit. Okay. So a sequence like 1, 2, and 3, and a sequence like 2, 1, and 3. And these two are choosing a different element, but this is the same number. But these are different because of because these are different. And yeah, it should always be different. Same. And here to obtain the longest alternative string, we can do this. Now let's calculate the number of ways to choose characters that stay after string S become alternating. Choose the number of characters that stay. Okay, we are going to choose the number of characters that stay. The different ways we can choose them. Okay, that makes sense. Like this. However, we have chosen the characters that remain, but we need to choose the characters we erase and the order in which we erase them. Since choosing the characters that remain is basically the same as choosing the characters that get erased, we only have to choose the order in which the characters get erased. The number of characters we erase is n minus k. The number of characters we erase is n minus k, yes, because n is the number of different blocks we have, and from each block we will be getting only one character at the end, so we will be removing everything else. So the number of ways to order them is equal to the number of permutations of length n minus k. That makes sense, makes sense, and the number of permutations for that for n minus k, and I am choosing n minus k iterations, so that would be factorial of n minus k. There are 6 ways in this one. N minus k factorial. Hello, Anish Prem. How can I contact you? Please tell by replying me. You can go to my YouTube channel. There is a inquiry email there. You can email me there. That is nice if you want to. Okay, the number of operations is n minus k, but how is this different from what I am doing here? Factorial of cert, and am I counting the right thing? I want to make cert equal to the number of things that I am removing, and this should be work. This should work. This should work. If cert is if count is greater than 1, then add count to the shortest thing, and if it is not, then don't add because I won't be able to remove it. Shit, okay, I can remove that much, and wait, if I do shortest equals this of an end. Okay, wrong answer makes sense. Mn, because I do not need mn, I need the number of numbers that I'm going to remove, and the number of numbers that I'm going to remove. The number of numbers that I'm going to remove. And the obvious way would be by doing this, by adding sort by 1 every single time that I see end of a block, and at the end also do the same thing, sort plus plus, and then at the end sort should be equal to the factorial of sort, not the factorial of sort, but n minus sort, and n does not exist in this case. What we have here is s dot size, and that is wrong. Size minus short. If I have 5 things, 1, 2, 3 makes sense. Permutation of k minus 1, n minus k permutation, and 3. Let's consider the string s, and the permutation for this minus 1. Number of ways would be to choose the permutations of size n minus 1. I can choose permutations of size n minus 1, and the total number of elements that I have choice from. Number of operations that we need to perform is this thing, that is true. with the number of shortest ways is length, the current length, multiplied by, I'm multiplying current length of everything. Why am I doing that? Because that gives me multiplying current length of everything gives me, what does it give me? N minus k factorial, and multiplying length of every sequence. How does that help me? 3 multiplied by 2. It gives me 6, which is the number of ways that I can choose the last element, right? Because in this I have 3 possibilities and in this I have 2 possibilities. So I multiply 3 by 2. That is probability, combinatorial algorithms and stuff. So this thing, why am I then multiplying it with this? Okay, if I have something like this, not like this, something like this, 0, 1, 1, 1. So I need to remove 3 of these and 2 of these so that at the end I have something like 0, 1, and I could choose in one sequence, let's say. Should this, these are too many zeros and ones. Let's say we just have 4 and at the end we want 0 and 1. So I can choose this one 0 with this one, that is one possibility. I could choose this 0 with this one, that is another possibility. I could choose this 0 with this one, that is another possibility. And then I could choose this 0 with this one. So in total I have 4 possibilities, and the minimum number of stuff that I would have to remove is 2. 1 0 from this sequence, 1 0 from this sequence. And this thing is 4. 4 is the total number of permutations. And okay, 4 is the total number of permutations, but it does not make sense. Should my permutation game is very bad. There is a book which I could read, this thing, Concrete Mathematics. This is by Donald Knuth, Mr. Donald Knuth. And the context is here. Sums, integers, permutation, and should go page 38. Where is the thing? Manipulation of sums, permit, in sums. Yeah, this is a book which we could read maybe at some point in the stream. And why is my obvious here? Okay, it has been quite long time, 1 hour, and I've been unable to do this one question. This and this. Okay, what is the exact thing that I'm not getting in this? In this, I have 2 possibilities. Okay, so in total, I have n minus k choices, and from that, I can choose k things. Yep. From no, I have to make n minus k choices, and what is the total number of things that are available to me to make those choices. But also, if I were to make two choices, I cannot make these two as my choices. So permutation of this thing, which would be, I have to leave one number, leave one, shit, if I have 0, 0, 0, 0, 1, 1, 1, I need to choose permutation for this and multiply it by the permutation in this. That would just give me combination and not permutation. Here I need to choose. Here the permutation would be 4 factorial, and here it would be 3 factorial, because for the first number I have 3 choices, for the second number I have 2 choices. And now I have made my choices, and here for the first number I have 4 choices, then 3, and then 2, therefore 4 into 3 into 2, and here 3 into 2. And what do I do with these numbers? If I just multiply them, however, we can choose the characters that remain, but we do not. Why are we even doing this thing? In this, we are choosing the characters that remain. Okay, however, we can choose the characters that remain, but we need to choose the characters we erase and the order in which we erase them. Since choosing the characters that remain is basically the same as choosing the characters that get erased, that get erased. So we only have to choose the order in which the characters get erased. Okay. Okay, since I have chosen the characters that remain, I have chosen the also chosen the characters that get erased, and now I simply have to get the order in which they get erased. Number of possibilities for the characters that remain, multiply by the order, and permutation of length n minus k. Makes sense if I'm making my choice only through those n minus k possibilities. Okay, so instead of this, sort equals sort multiplied by count, and this thing remainder with mod. And okay, through this I'm checking, I am finding the number, the possible ways of characters which I can choose, which will remain and will not be erased. And at the end, I have to do the same thing here, and then multiply. Okay. Also, I need to find k, that is the number of groups, and k equals 0. Here, k equals 0, and whenever I see this, k plus plus, or I could do k equals 1 here, and then this factorial multiplied by shirt, and then take its remainder with the mod, and that gives me the wrong answer, which makes sense because I messed up. Shirt has to be initially equal to 1 since I'm multiplying it with everything. And now I do get the right answer, but I want to get this right in first try. Well, it is technically not the first try, but I want to one shot this thing. Mn plus equals count minus 1. So Mn is correct. I have no problem with Mn, and the whole problem was with permutation with shirt, which means I would have to read about permutation. Should we did my terminal go? Shit, put this here. Yeah, and terminal goes there. Cool. Let's see. I think this should work, but I do not want to submit my answer on hope. But will this work? I'm multiplying it by the number of choices I can take for the numbers that remain, and then at the end I'm multiplying it by the factorial of s dot size minus k. S dot size minus k. Factorial of s dot size minus k. K is the number of the size of the ending sequence that I will have. Okay, I think this should work. Let's see if that works. And we will know if it works. Okay, code forces is slow right now, and I think the reason is because right now there is system testing going on for this yesterday's contest, right? It must be, it is 71% completed. There is system testing going on right now, and it says that I got question number C and E wrong because there is system testing going on right now, even though I did get these right. Not in the first try, but I did got them right. Okay, so 1 hour and 7 minutes for this one. 1 hour 7 minutes, and I am keeping track of the time it takes me to get questions right. Wait, wrong answer 10 9. Shit, out of bounds. Memory error. I am using a lot of memory. See, make it alternative. Why would I be using a lot of memory? I'm not doing anything wrong with the memory. I am only doing this thing and this thing only once for one test case. Out of bounds does not make sense. Out of bounds or other memory error, something with memory in this line specifically is okay. So what is the size of maximum sizes? This, so that should cover because I'm going till my range. Okay, my range is lower than that. 6 makes sense. Now this should work. Hello, Sam XC. I guess that is experience. I do not like this red thing. This thing. Okay. 1 hour is a lot of time. And this, okay, now it is correct. Well, not correct, but at least I got the right answer for night. Now it is accepted. That is cool. And this tells me that I do not understand some things like what combinatorics. What are the things? Finding power of factors, factorial, yep, yeah, stuff like this, fundamentals, and then the techniques which I could learn. And so specifically the thing that I got wrong in this was finding power of factorial, binomial coefficient, Catalan numbers or something. Permutations. Where is permutation? Prime implementation, composite, Catalan numbers. Is there something about permutations in this book? Yes, there seems to be generating permutations. Should I did already read this part, but I guess I didn't. Generating permutations, I will have to read this again. Okay, makes sense. And now I can move on to the next question, and hopefully I do it uh, in some like faster than 1 hour. Strong vertices. Okay, I'm going to do this one, and I can put this thing on, which is cool. Okay. Going to array A and B, length n, elements of both of them. Next one, 120. Shit, I do not understand graphs. All the strong vertices. 4 is strong, and just that. Only one is strong vertices, that is 4. Re- I do not understand graphs. I haven't read about graphs, which is crazy. Yo, morning dog. How are you? 1:50. It must be about 3 in the morning there, I guess. 3:20 or something like that. And this is a graph question. Okay, for this question, I don't think I need speed, but I will keep the counter going because I have to just understand this. Graph. I want this number. If I sort this, minimum, and shit, okay. Okay, okay, I have some idea about how I could do this without creating whole graph. And uh, but not just this. Yes, shit, I think I do have that thing up. 320. Yo, I can put this down because I am talking. I'm not in proper question solving mode right now. And I plus plus. I will take the number in and I need to keep track of the two most biggest numbers. So mxa1 and mxa2. Initially, they will be equal to, wait, what are the numbers that this could have? Minimum, oh yeah. And mnb1, the most minimum, and mnb2. And I need to keep track of their indices instead of the numbers themselves. So at the start, I can make all of them v equals m and v2 equal to 0. That is the first number. And if current number ei is greater, if the current number ai is greater than m and I, the maximum till now, then I would like to update both the elements and yeah, mxa1, then mxa1 equals I, and mxa2 equals mxa1. Yeah, sure. And else if ai greater than mxa2, then simply update mxa2 equals I. Yep. And do something similar with b. Do something similar with b, which is change this with b, this with b, this with b, and this also with b, m n b1. And if current number is lower than the lowest number, then update in these two, and these two. Okay, and b, this is mn, this is b, and this is also b, mn b. Okay, and now I have the minimum and the maximum number, and then I would like to iterate for int I equals 0, I less than ni plus plus, and I will be outputting numbers and stuff. Okay, if the current number that I have, if ai mna and mxb, and the minimum difference that I'm going to get in m, if I isn't equal to mxa1, if I is not equal to mnxa1, then current number mna equals ai minus ma mxa1, and if it is equal, then mna equals ai minus the second biggest xa2, and if I isn't equal to mnb1, then the max, yes, then the maximum value that I can get mxb would be equal to the current value minus the minimum value b mnb1, else mxb equals bi minus the second biggest, and if less than or equal to, both would work, I guess. Less than or equal to, yes, greater than or equal to. So if mna greater than or equal to mxb, then cout I plus 1 actually, and at the end of the loop, cout a new line. It says wrong answer because what the heck, what is this? What is the format? For each test case, output two lines. In the first line, output the number of strong vertices, and in the second line, output all the strong vertices in ascending order. Okay, I can push back vi answer and 13 ans instead of this answer dot push back I plus 1, and when I'm out, see out answer dot size on one line, and then for int for auto x in answer see out x like this, and then output a new line. That does say wrong, but I guess that is wrong. Well, this 4 is correct, and here why do I say only 2? I do recognize 3 as a valid answer, but not 5. Why? In test number 2, in this one, let's see. In test number 2, I do recognize 3 as a correct answer because the maximum in this case is 2, and then 4 minus 2 is 2. That is the minimum value that I can get in this, and for this I'm looking for the minimum value, which is 2, so it is equal 2, and 2 is equal but shit, it fail on individual cases. Here I have 2, and shared the value here is 1 and minus 1. What is the largest value that I could get here? It would be 1 minus 2, that is minus 1. That is the largest value that I could manage to get here, and for this the minimum value that I would get is minus 2. But when I'm getting that minus 2, here I'm getting minus 2. Shit, okay, that makes sense. So I can store their difference. Okay, yeah, this won't work. Makes sense. This won't work. Yep, this won't work. Yep. Any idea? Okay. What I am looking for is something like this. I will have something like this, and for this to be connected to every single thing, that would be n square time complexity, and I do not want n square time complexity. That is too much. I need to see difference between this has to be greater than this thing minus this thing, and this has to be true for every single element. Maybe I can sort them, sort both of these. If I let's say I do sort both of these, I would get 1 1 2 2 4, and in this I would get, and yes, I am messing up the order, but let's just see. And this one is connected with a 5. I can connect this one with the 5, and another one is connected with a 3, and a 2 is connected with a 1, and another 2 is connected with a 2, and then a 3 is connected with a 4. So what matters is, if I take what is the minimum sum that I could get here, the minimum that I could get here would be for when I divide subtract 4 from 2. When I subtract from 2 4, let's say, and when I'm doing that, the number here is 1. And for 1, what is the maximum sum I could get? For 1, the maximum number that I could get is -1, which is lower this is the same thing that I am doing right now, so this is no different. Let's say I just sort one of these. Let's say I sort the first one, 1 1 2 2 4, and in here we had 3 and 5 for this one, 3 and 5, and for 2 I had 1 and 2, and for 4 I had 3. So for this to be, for this to work, I need to see the minimum sum, and the minimum sum, and the minimum sum for this, let's say in this range, is going to, the minimum difference, the minimum difference is going to be 0 for this in this range, and for this in this range would be -1, and till this range it would be -3. And for this to be connected to all of these, it has to be connected. What is the maximum value that I can get in this range? Here it would be 3 minus 5, that is -2, which is lower than 0. So this one is connected with this one, and in this range it would be 3 minus 2, which is 1, and 1 is greater than -1, so no. Is that the right thing? The time complexity for this thing would be, it would be high. It would be n square. It would be n square, because I could have. And what is the point of sorting? The point of sorting in this is so that I can group these things nicely. And what is the thing that I'm calculating? Once I sort these, I can maybe go through this sorted array once and convert this into something that would help me recognize something faster. Now let's say I have created this thing. 1, 1, 2, 2, 4, and 3, 5, 1, 2, 3. Okay, I have to be smart about this. So for a given value, the things that matter are this ith value and this a value in the A array and the value in the B array that I am currently at, and the indices that I'm concerned about would be ends like this. When a consecutive number that like a repeating number ends. Okay, if this if this node can be connected with this one right here, then it can be connected with any node in this group. And why is that? That is why it is because, first of all, this difference 1 minus 2 is going to remain same in this group because all the elements at the top are same, and this difference, that is 3 minus 1, is going to decrease. So this is the maximum difference that I can get in the B array, and this is the only difference that I'm going to get in the A array. And if I can connect these two nodes, then I would be able to connect all of these nodes in this array. So theoretically, what I could do is, what is the range? I could first of all sort this and start iterating from the smallest, and only when I see a new number. So these things don't matter. These numbers don't matter. Like this doesn't matter, right? Shit. Can this 5 be of any size? Shit. No, no, no. No, shit. It is only for right. What if I am currently here on this node, and this node does matter because shit, there is a node here. Can this be connected to this? And also, can this be connected to this? Here, the difference is same. It is 0. And here, since the value is either same or increasing, I will be able to connect this left one with the right one. 1, 3, 1, 5. So within a group, I can always connect the left ones with all the ones on the right. And if I were to connect the right ones with the left, I won't be, because the difference in A array is going to be 0 since they are part of the same group, and the difference in B array is going to be either 0 or not 0, either 0 or positive, and positive is greater than 0. Shit, no, this is not the right method. This doesn't seem right. In that case, I could just check match this element with this, and I would know if this number is different from this number, then I won't be able to connect this one from here to here. So that makes sense. But I can connect this one to this one. Okay. And for every subsequent group on the right, I need to check the first pair. If I can connect it to the first one, then it is cool, but that does not seem right. And I also have to see for things on the left. Okay, when I'm checking if this current node could be connected to the ones on the right, on the left, if I'm checking within the same group, then I check the first number in that group. If it is different, then no, and if it is same, then yes, and I move on to the group earlier, and let's say for this 1 3 1 5, I add 2 2 and 1 2 1 2, and let's say I want to check this particular node. Can this be connected with this one? No, it cannot be, so I can stop here. But let's say theoretically we are checking, can this be connected with this group? Since the upper bound is going to be -1, -1 is going to be the only difference that we will get, and the maximum difference is going to be when I subtract from this number, which is going to be 2 minus 3, which is equal to -1. So this node can be connected to all of the nodes in this one. So that makes sense. That makes sense. But I'm doing this like n square time complexity. I want to do this with a better time complexity. N square is not something that I could afford here. N square is too big. And shit, I have only done one question today. Okay, back to it. I will think about this for 5 more minutes and then I will go and look at the solution. Okay, if given this is also not good. Nope, nope, nope. Nope, this ain't good. Okay, I guess now look at the solution. It has been quite long and I cannot think of any solution myself. No, I will not stop this. D, and this was division 3. And how is the system testing going on right now? 80%? 75%, okay. D, question D in division 3. Okay, strong vertices. First step is to modify the inequality. Okay, we can write this as the inequality. Shit. For two pairs like U and V to be connected, it has to be true that AU minus AV has to be greater than, shit, modifying the inequality, has to be greater than BU minus BV. And as they say, we can change the inequality. AU minus BU greater than equal to greater than equal to AV minus BV, and I can create this array and sort this. Create this array and sort this, and so this has to be greater than or equal to all the lower pairs. Okay, shit. Okay, I don't need to find all of these things which I was finding earlier. I can do this. I just need to take in B, and here I just need to take in A, and then a vector of answers of size n, or actually diff is cooler. Diff is cooler, and for int I equals 0, I less than n, I plus plus, and if I equals a I minus bi, and then I would like to sort diff dot begin and diff dot end in descending order, and I want the difference, only the greatest difference, either it is equal to or less than. Yep, how many greatest there are. Okay, so int mx equals diff n minus 1, and shit, I need to keep track of their original counts. Okay, so I cannot sort this thing directly. I need to do ii iota ii dot begin. It will contain all the indexes, and instead of start with 0, and instead of sorting the diff array itself, diff vector itself, I'm going to sort its indexes. And this is how you do that thing. And here I will provide a lambda function which is a reference, and it takes in I and j and return diff I, let's say greater than diff j, and maximum in that case is going to be the first one, I 0. I contains the index of the maximum one, and I need to see how many maximum there are. So int cnt equals 0, and yeah, and while int I equals 0, and while diff I plus plus equal minimum, and I need to put my phone on charging. Now it is charging, I hope. Yep, it is. So while equals maximum, I will do nothing. And if it is 5, if 0 matches, I'll go to the next. Yeah. And I, if everything matches, if I lower than n and this. And then at the end, C out I, and for int anything while I minus minus. That is how many times I want to run this loop. I have to C out mx with some space. Now, if I, if I, no, I will always have at least one maximum. Yeah. So then output new line. And that gives me segmentation fault. And I will fix that when I just get back from the washroom. Should we go to the washroom? I'll be right back. Yo, me, very back. And okay, this should work, but I got a segmentation fault. While I is lower than this, increase and mx equals to this. And I and j. Okay, wrong answer is better. Okay, I do not have to. Shit. Okay. Okay. I do not have to output maximum. I have to output all of those numbers. All of those numbers in ascending order. Okay. I have to output all of those numbers in all of those nodes in ascending order. Right. So for that, shit, I would have to create an answer array. And this answer dot push push back. What do this is stupid. It has to be I plus plus, and then insert I, and don't do this, do this. If the current one is equal, add it, and plus plus. And now while I I need to now sort I and sort the answer. Shit. And answer dot and then send out I and send out everything in answer with some space. I did expect wrong answer, but shit, okay, this is correct. Am I outputting so many numbers? Shit, and why the same number multiple number of times? Answer dot push back the index. Okay, while difference of I equal to maximum. Maximum is the first one. Shit, because and zero indexed. Yes, x plus plus. That is cool. 4 2 3 1 2 3 2 3 5 4. Shit. That should work now. Submit and 45 minutes after reading the editorial. Why is it slow? Is it because system testing is going on right now? 75% and 76%. That is cool. Running, running still. And I think the way that wait, it went from 14 to 13. The way that I'm solving these questions is wrong. It is not right. Yes, I'm not going full in. I should have been able to figure it out to just rearrange this inequality. Shit. I just had to rearrange this inequality and things would have been better. And why rearrange this? Because here u and v are different numbers, and since they are different, this makes finding this thing a very big thing, because it will take a lot of time, because for every u I would have to iterate through every v, which makes the time complexity n square, which is bad. So what I can do is bring this bu from here, and I would have au minus bu, and I would have u on the same side, and take this av on the other side, and I would have av minus bv v on both the sides. I should have been able to figure that out, but anyways, I will never forget this now. And what else? What else can I take away? It is accepted. That is cool. I can write 45 minutes here. And this analysis is very necessary after solving a question, because I do want to reach 2000 by the end of this year. So the thing that I couldn't do was rearrange this. And after I did rearrange this, I was able to do it. And what is the time that it took me? Okay, that is one factor. To solve every question, I have to first figure out a theory, an algorithm, an idea that will logically solve that problem, and then there is the implementation part. So for the theory part, for the algorithm figuring out part, this is what I missed. Just rearranging the inequality. And I will remember that because the rearranging the inequality brings u on the same side and v on the same side. That is cool. And now about implementation. I think could I have done better? I do have to take in A. I do have, so okay, for a while, for like now first I will analyze my implementation and see can I make this better, faster, and let's see what I do figure out. And then I will look at the implementation given in the tutorial. So I have to take in A, I have to take in B, and only then can I create this diff array, which I do have to create. And then I have to, since I need the indices of all the nodes, which are like that, therefore, which are good, which are like good or great, strong, which are strong, all the nodes or vertices, whatever you want to call them. Since I want that, I cannot iterate diff itself. I cannot sort diff itself because I would not have the order. Therefore, I have created here an II array, which this function takes in an iterator from the beginning to the end and puts this value on the first one and the given value +1 on the second one and the given value +2 on the third one and stuff like that. Therefore, my at the end, my II array would be something like 0, 1, 2, 3, dot, 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 till n-1. So that is cool. And then I can sort II from the start till the end, given this. For every two elements numbers, I am checking if its diff is greater than the diff of j, and if i's diff is greater than the diff of j, then I would be put at the start and j would be later in the II array vector. And then I take the maximum, and since I want this thing to be true, diff for a node to be connected to every other node, its diff has to be greater than or equal to every other diff. Therefore, I take the maximum, and let's say my diff array is something like 5, 5, 2, 1. Then these two nodes, this node has its diff greater than or equal to every other node. Its diff 5 is equal to this 5, which is greater than 2 and also greater than 1. And for this 5 also, its value is equal to this 5 and greater than this and greater than this. So these two would be the answer. And that is what I am doing. I equals star 0, and I am, if I see for all the nodes for which this condition is true, I am putting that index into the answer array. And since I have to return the indexes in ascending order, I have to sort it. And I do not think I can optimize this any further. And what would the time complexity of this thing be? N till now. And for sorting, it would take n log n. So n log n till now. And this is just n. This is also n log n. So yeah, time complexity would be n log n, which is feasible. But can the implementation be better? I can stop this. Tags. Should I have submitted this? So 14 Hemant Ragul B. How did you do in yesterday's contest? In yesterday's contest, my rank was around 2800, and right now system testing is going on. Yep, 76. And standings, friends standings, there would be just me it does say 8,000 right now because system testing is going on right now. After that, I was able to do these questions till E. And yeah, I think I could have gotten better than 2800. 2800 is bad. It is not good. And okay, what are the tags? Maths, sorting, trees, 1300. Okay, let's see how they have implemented this. D, assembly. That is cool. Strong vertices. Code C++. It is loading. Okay. Okay. Taken in. That is a very nice way to take it in. Okay, you do that. Okay, and you take stuff into A and B. Maximum is int minimum. Okay, so you do not have to sort. Okay, take the maximum. Count is 0 and go through the array again and see. Okay, so you are saving memory and that makes sense. Output C and shit. That okay, I want to see how much time this one will take. My solution took shit. I have done all of these questions in this contest. That is cool. My solution took 140 milliseconds and 6 MB of space. Let's see the one that he recommended, or he or she, doesn't matter. Auto X A C in X and auto X B C in X. After taking the input, I have to see int mx will be equal to int minimum, and then for int I equals 0, I less than n I plus plus, and mx equal to maximum of the current difference, which is ai minus bi comma mx, and now I have the maximum, and now int cnt equals 0, and for int I equals 0, I less than ni plus plus, and cnt plus equals to fai minus bi equals mx question mark. If that is true, then add 1, otherwise add 0. Now cout count with a new line and another loop int I 0, I less than n I plus plus, and I would have to use a if statement here. And can I inline this also? I have to check a statement and then output. I don't think I can inline this thing. I don't think I can inline this thing, write this thing in a single line. Shit, I can write the if statement on the same line. That is cool. That is cool. If ai minus bi equals maximum, then cout I plus 1, like I plus 1 with a bit of space, and at the end, cout a new line. This should work here, and it does work. Of course it does. And then for this problem, sorting vertices, strong vertices, I want to submit. D, strong vertices. Let's see how much time it takes. If it is not wrong, it is not wrong. Doesn't seem so. Okay, it is taking quite a bit, but that is my theory is it is because of system testing. Codeforce is doing system testing right now. Yeah, but this solution should take should be faster and also should take less memory because in my original solution that I submitted in this, what are the things that I am not doing now? I'm not doing sorting this. So I'm not doing this sorting. I'm not creating this diff. Okay, for space, I am saving this thing. These don't matter. I'm saving this one array and I'm saving this two arrays and then I'm saving this three arrays. Okay, so I do not have to create three separate arrays, and for time I'm saving this sorting and then this sorting. Shit, see the memory difference 0 KB and what I did, it took 6 MB, and time difference is not that much because there is not much difference between n and n log n, I guess. But memory, I'm saving a lot of memory. That is cool. Now off to the next one. Refresh. And how long has it been? 3 hours. That is fine. I would like to do one more question because I have only done two questions. But what I shit. Okay, and what were the things? I guess it was ma this is a mess. And this one, what were the things? Tags, maths, sorting, and trees. And the thing that I didn't think about was changing this inequality. Okay, that is what I learned from this. And about the implementation, yes, implementation are this is very cool. Implementation. I should prefer running a linear for loop. Yes, I should prefer running a linear for loop instead of sorting and doing stuff like that. That makes sense. And yeah, that makes sense. And other than that, in the first one, in the one that I did before this, what was the thing that I was missing? About permutations. I had I have to read about permutations. I have to read about permutations. I would look for a good source to read about permutations. Yes, I can look for something. Yes, I have a book. This one, Rudolph and sandwiches. Snowflakes, not sandwiches. And hello, Manas brother. I'm going to go in problem solving mode, so-called. That is very cool. Zero concurrent viewers is very cool. And okay, first I will drink some water. And now I can begin. There is some version of the problem, but doesn't matter. Tomorrow. Okay. And okay, shit. The minimum k can be 2. That would be a binary tree. And the smallest in that would be like this. And then, okay, smallest would be if k equals 2, then if k equals anything, then what is the size of the smallest? I have 1 plus k, and then into k plus k square, and in these two, that is 8, k square into k. Okay, for given number, I have to find a plus 1 plus k square plus k cube, if such a number exists. And okay, so that is it, just k power 0, k, and k can vary, and this is a gp. And what is the formula for summation of a gp? But I also do not know this number. For k equal to 2, I could have the minimum that I could have would be, for k equal to 2, 1 plus 2 plus 4, that is 7, and after that I could add k equal to add 3, that would be 7 plus 8, 13. Stupid. 15. 7 plus 8 is 15, and then add 16, that is 31, which is cool. Then I can just do 63, then I can do 123, and then I can do 250, 256. What is it? 258, 257. It is just for this power equal to 3, it is simply equal to 2 power 3 minus 1. So okay, for k equal to 3, the minimum I could have is 1 plus 3 plus 9, that would be 13, and okay, and then the next one would be 3 plus what 27, 3 plus 27, 13 plus 27, which would be 40, and then 27 plus 81, which would be 1 to 1, and stuff like that. Is there a pattern which I can check? And what is the leeway that I can have? N equals 6. The maximum value of n could be 10 power 6. If I could figure out if I could figure out formula for n, for k power some number n, formula for this thing, and that is formula for k power 0 plus k power 1 plus k power 2, which is gp. I saw a derivation for this. Isn't this like if I take k common, let's say I want to derive this formula, k power 1, then k power 2 plus dot dot dot. Let's say that this is S sum, and if I multiply this whole thing by k, if I do multiply this whole thing, if I add 1 on both sides, which does not help. Shit, isn't this? No, it is not. No, this one is different from n into n plus 1 into 2n plus 3 divided by 6, 2n plus 3 divided by 6. In this one we are finding the summation for this. 1 square plus 2 square plus 3 square plus dot 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 dot. So this is not it. And I could look it up, but I want to derive this thing. Which question? The question is this one. Even in contest number 883, and due to some reason this is blurry. Now it is fine. And yep, I could just look it up, but I do want to derive this. And how is the system testing going on? 78%. Cool. It would be really fun if I could derive this on my own. K power 0 plus k power 1 plus k square plus dot 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 dot. Let's say it is s. I need to find the value for s. If I subtract k from both sides, shit. And I am very sure that someone watching must know the answer for this formula, because this is simple GP formula, right? Where my base variable is 1 and my thing that I'm multiplying again and again is R. And shit, but I do not want to look at the formula. I want to derive this. Shit, if I do k power 1 plus k power 2 plus k cube and s minus k power 0 and then take k common from this. So I would have k power 0 plus k power 1 plus k power 2 plus dot 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 equals s minus k power 0, and this thing is equal to s, so k into s equal to s minus k naught, which is in our case 0, so which is in our case 1, so ks equal to s minus k, and if I take this there, 1 equals s into 1 minus k, and s equals 1 divided by 1 minus k. Nah, no, I missed something. This thing becomes s, so taking this to the right was cool, and then taking k common was also cool. Minus the last term. Shit. This is not exactly equal to k. This is, yeah, this is not exactly equal to k because series is not infinite. This would actually turn out to be negative. Somehow, if this series is wait, if this series is infinite, then taking this k common is no problem, and I would get s, and k into s equals s minus k, that is cool, s minus k power 0, and k into s equals, this is nothing, ignore this thing, s minus 1 because k power 0 is 1, and then I take this sk there and this one here, and I would have 1 minus k, and if I have k equal to 2, if I have k equal to 2, then I would have s equal to 1 divided by minus 1. I would have s equal to minus 1, and the expanded form of the series would be 1 plus 2 plus 4 plus 8 plus 16 till infinity equals to minus 1. Shit, math is not mathing. Math is not mathing. Okay. For 1 plus 2 plus 4 plus 8 plus 16 plus 32 plus dot 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 until infinity, I have found a formula which somehow returns minus 1. What the heck? And is the formula correct? Yes, the formula seems to be correct. I've taken key common, and yes, every single step is logical. It is like valid step. I can taking this k to the right side is truly okay. Then taking this k common and making this sum equal to s is also truly okay because the series is infinite, right? And then writing this k power 0 equal to 1 is also okay. And then 1 divided by 1 minus k. What the heck? The formula I derive is this. S equals 1 divided by 1 minus k, where S is the sum, and we can replace k with 2. And let me change this form to k power 0 plus k power 1 plus k power 2 plus k power 3 plus k power 4 plus dot dot dot, which returns minus 1 with k equal to 2. The formula is this. Explaining series convergence. Thought for 7 seconds. Okay. Good. You spotted a red flag. Your formula is this is correct algebraically, but it is only valid under a convergence condition you silently dropped. Let's unpack this clearly. Infinite partial sums, safe algebra. Okay, this is safe algebra. When I am doing this thing, okay, summation, the normal correct formula is supposed to be this thing. For n, if I do n, take the limit equal to infinite. Okay, so this is correct. You need to claim this thing equal to this. I need to say that this upper sum equals 0, which it does not. That happens if and only if k is lower than no, let me tell you my whole derivation then. Okay, let me tell you my whole derivation. I have k power 0 plus k power 1 plus k power 2 plus k power 3 plus dot 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 plus equal to s. Then in the next step, I can do this thing minus this, which is cool. And then I can take k common from this thing, and I should get this thing back. equals s minus 1 and k into s capital S, k into s equals s minus 1 and then 1 equals s minus k into s and 1 equals, I can take s common and I would get 1 minus k. I can increase the size if you guys cannot see. And then s equals 1 divided by 1 by k. Capital S. This is correct maths. Can you see this? This is amazing. Okay, what the heck? Internally consistent. What does internally consistent mean? And you did the classic derivation. Okay, this hidden step is the one everybody skates past. You treated an infinite sum like a finite number when you did the sub. Okay, since this is infinite, infinity multiplied by infinity is infinity, and infinity minus 1 is infinity, and infinity minus some number multiplied by infinity is infinity, then it should be not equal to 1. Infinity minus infinity is 1 supposedly. Okay, let's read. I'll walk you through everything. Okay, Sn equals to this. Okay, okay, that is stuff on the right, and then I multiply k on both the sides. Okay, and then Sn minus Snk would be equal to this thing minus this thing, this thing minus this thing. I can stop this. I'm like, right now we are in maths territory. And then take and common 1 minus k. Okay, and on the right side we, but not n. We have infinity here. Why would this be wrong? I have infinity and you are applying the limit later on n, and this would only be true when this sum is equal to 0, which it would never be because n is positive and k is positive and n minus 1 is some positive number. Even if it is negative, it will never be equal to 0. It would only be equal to 0 when n is minus infinity. So that is wrong. What goes wrong on it? If you want, I can show a quick plot table of partial sums. Explain the two-adic viewpoint where this equals does make sense. When would this make sense? What is two-adic viewpoint? Wait, how long has it been? Shit, I'm not in question solving mode right now. I can remove that. It's been 3 hours and 33 minutes. That is nice. And okay, let's go with this. Ordinary absolute value. All right, let's open it. This is amazing. I cannot see why this thing would be wrong. ChatGPT is saying that since we are dealing with infinite sums, it is hard to do this thing. Just why would it be? Because this S is not a normal S, this is something infinite. This is something infinite. Okay. Where infinity runs backward, this actually converges into a, and something similar was given by Ramanujan where 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus till infinity equals minus 1 by 12 somehow. Minus 1 by 12 does not make sense. Ordinary absolute values versus p-adic absolute ordinary absolute values versus p-adic absolute values. You said 2-adic above, but okay. In normal math, we measure size of a number n using real absolute value n. Okay. If 2 power n, absolute value of 2 power n, in the usual sense, gets huge, the series diverges. Okay, that is what happens for this thing in real numbers, in normal math. But p-adic numbers for some prime p use a different absolute value. The p-adic norm definition. P for p equals to. Okay, p-adic, that is why I used 2-adic. Okay, p equal for p equals 2. If n is not equal to 0, n is the number whose value we are trying to calculate. If n is not equal to 0, then I can write n equal n's value would be equal to 2 power 2, the p in this thing, power m multiplied by u, where u is an odd integer, therefore the answer would be odd because I'm multiplying an even number with an odd number. The answer would be even. Answer would be even. Even into even is even. Odd into odd is odd. No factors of 2. Where u is an odd integer. So how do I define m and u? So 2-adic value for 1 is 1. 2-adic value for 2 is 1 by 2 and so on. Key twist, in the 2-adic form, the higher power of 2 gets smaller. Okay, what is this m and what is u? What do you mean by any odd integer? And for n, the p-adic value would be minus m, and you are choosing m equal to n. Okay, uh, in this expression, what do you mean by m and u, and how are you choosing them? Like, what the heck does it mean? The step is just that step is, wait, 337. Right, that step is just factorization of any number into a power of 2 in any odd number. Okay, this is real maths, I guess. This is real maths. And so we have to find some value like this, where n equals 2 power something multiplied by some number for 3, and the value would be equal to this. Is an odd integer. So everything in 2-adic does not have every number in normal mathematics does not have a 2-adic representation because is an odd integer, because you would never not find this form for all of the numbers. Like for 3, you do not find anything like this, because you do actually, you do. It would be 1 by 1. Yep. For m equals to 1, for m equals to 0, but then you'd have power equal to minus 0. Minus 0 is just 0, and 0, this would be 1. Okay, makes sense. For if there is a perfect power of 2 multiplied by some odd integer equal to that number, then I would take 2 power minus m. Okay, for a number like 5, which is odd, I could choose m equal to 0, and this term would become 1, and 1 multiplied by 5 would give me n, and since I chose this to be 0, its two-adic representation would be 1. So what is the point of this? Why would I need something like two-adic? What is the point of this? Two-adic p-adic representation, and give examples that are like, yeah, give examples. I wanted to say give simpler examples, but let's see. Let's go straight to the point of p-adic representation. Okay, I kind of understand the p-adic representation, but why would you need this p-adic representation? The point of p-adic representation in ordinary mathematics usually measures distance and limits using the real absolute values. This is how we normally represent a number, by taking their absolute value. This works great for geometry and calculus over the real numbers, but it is not the only possible way to measure size. This is one way of measuring size. Okay, for many number theory problems, especially those involving divisibility, the periodic, yeah, I would have University of Chicago, that is cool. Periodic numbers. There's a whole paper on this. An introduction to periodic numbers. That is what I would need. But do I like actually want to go into the of topology of q is integers and z is integers? What uh, do q and z represent in number theory? Yes. Q is a set of rational numbers and z is a set of integers. Okay, z is a set of integers like -1, 0, 1, 2, stuff like that, and q rational numbers. Rational numbers are numbers which can be represented in the form p by q, which should not include pi. Yeah, abstract. This paper introduces the periodic numbers with an emphasis on the comparison to the real numbers. It is mostly self-contained, but some basic knowledge in number theory, analysis, topology. I do not understand topology. Topology and geometry is assumed. Geometry, I do have a basic understanding. Shit. Analysis has quotes on both sides, like commas on both sides, which means they are specifically meaning saying you need to have basic understanding of analysis itself, not theory analysis, but analysis itself. We begin by defining the periodic metric and using this metric to construct a set of integers, a set of rational numbers and integers. We then move on to sequence and series and write periodic expressions. Lastly, we discuss topology. Topology, lastly. Okay, this is cool. I would like to do something with this at some point. But that is like exactly in the place that I wanted to put this. And I must also have something on YouTube for this. Okay, it is actually, I think, number file. So 26. Okay, so this is the first time that I'm seeing this representation. Shit. I was not aware of any of this. Pediatric numbers part 1 of 3. And shit, I have seen this guy's videos. Yes, I was seeing his video on Euclid's formula yesterday. Here, playlist, and he has a playlist on number theory. Representation, theory of numbers. Yep, I was watching these. That is cool. And it is 3 hours and 44 minutes. I think I can stop, and yep, I think I can stop. It has been long enough. 3 hours and 45 minutes. And thank you for being here. That would be it for today.